For those just joining, thank you so much for joining the roundtable today. My name is Stephanie Kissel. I'm the co-founder of Supportedly, and we've partnered with Dr. White and Haywood Community College to help bring Startup Haywood to fruition. Startup Haywood strives to bring entrepreneurial resources and community together digitally, helping everyday entrepreneurs and small business owners get answers to their questions, connect with our amazing resources like Katy, who we'll be talking to today at the Small Business Center, and learn through online learning modules that focus on information entrepreneurs need to start and grow their businesses, always with the entrepreneur's needs and perspective in mind. So before we start with the program, I would like to personally thank Dr. Shelley White and Katy Gould, president of Haywood Community College and director of the Small Business Center, respectively. Their dedication and passion for this community has been apparent at every turn as we've worked together to build the Startup Haywood program. So it's been an absolute pleasure to work with them to build this, and I'm excited as we continue to move forward and work together to help the Haywood community. So that's enough from me. I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Shelley White to say a few words about the program and the role of Haywood Community College in supporting small businesses in this region.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And thanks everyone for joining us today. We're very excited to have you here. As Stephanie said, I'm Shelley White. I'm president of Haywood Community College. And as a comprehensive community college, you might know us for our education and training, the degrees, diplomas, certificates that we offer to the community. But we're also highly focused on workforce and economic development. So short-term training that helps get people jobs, and also economic development that helps support entrepreneurs and those who are in business to be successful. So the primary way that we do that here at the college is through HCC's Small Business Center. And you'll hear later from Katy Gould, who's our director of the Small Business Center, about all the resources and support that can be provided through the center if you're not already connected. But a way that we're expanding that outreach and expanding that opportunity to connect through a new variety of resources is through Startup Haywood. And we're so excited to be launching this in partnership with Supportedly and our other partners in entrepreneurship support in our community. Through Startup Haywood, it's a portal, it's a hub for those resources. Not only will there be customized content, there's on-demand self-paced training right there within Startup Haywood, as well as ways to connect directly with our Small Business Center, a calendar of events. There's always things happening within the entrepreneurial community, and so we want to keep folks connected there. So there's a great calendar of events there. There's social media groups to connect with and work with like-minded individuals and connect with like-minded individuals across the county, across the region who have questions. We're going to be addressing some of your questions today. So we're so excited to be kind of helping to put this resource out into the community for our entrepreneurs. There are, again, great resources. We have some inspirational videos for folks who've connected with us and have been successful in growing their business. It takes a village. We're here to support the entrepreneurs within our community. And, Startup Haywood is for everyone. So it's for those who are in business and maybe have questions about what's the next step for me, or where do I need to go with this, or to find out this information, but also, anyone with an idea. So if you've been thinking about something and you're like, hey, is this something that we may want to, bring to our area or to try? It's a dream. It's something you've always wanted to do, and kind of explore that. So from idea to, in development to successful business who's wanting to kind of go to the next level, Startup Haywood is for you. So that's one of the messages we want to make sure we share today. Just again, very excited to support small businesses in our community. Haywood County is a wonderful place to have a business, to own and grow a business. It's a very supportive community. And that's something that I've found being president here over the past year is just the level of support, the level of engagement within the entrepreneurial community, And again, here's a new great resource to help connect all of our partners and all of the entrepreneurs in our region. So just thank you again for being here, and we're excited to be launching Startup Haywood and look forward to hearing your questions today. So I'll turn it back over to Stephanie and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much, Dr. White. So one of the things that I enjoy most about building these programs is the opportunity to meet and hear from individuals in the region who support their fellow entrepreneurs, whether it's in a networking and mentoring capacity or a more formal capacity like Katy at the Small Business Center. So today we've brought a few Haywood County's local entrepreneurs and Katy together to talk about their experiences. But before we dive in, I'd like to let them introduce themselves. So I'm going to flip it over to Mike first. Would you mind kicking us off and introducing yourself, your businesses, and the reason that you got into entrepreneurship in the first place?
Yeah, good morning, afternoon. I think it's lunchtime to everybody. My name's Mike Coble, and I have 3 businesses in downtown Waynesville. I have a gift shop, a baby shop, and a clothing shop, and we're opening up 2 others at the current moment. But one of the reasons I'll tell you that I got into entrepreneurship is I was in corporate America for a decade, and nothing aggravated me more than being able to help people, but because of all the red tape, I couldn't. Whether it was just a button I could push that I'd have to get manager support for, or just being able to go out of the way a little bit. And I love to support my local friends and family too. So for me, entrepreneurship was just a way for me to kind of satisfy my inner peace, and get to know my people and have fun at work again, and pull the buttons or push the buttons and pull the strings, anything that I kind of really wanted to do and get crazy. So, yeah, Haywood County's been great about it, and Katy and everything else, but that's a little bit about me.
Well, Mike, you certainly sound extremely busy, and I appreciate that perspective and the perspective of what small business ownership can bring in terms of support to the community as well. So excited to hear from you today. Thank you for being here. Courtney and Spencer, we'll kick it over to you next. We'd love to hear about your business and what led you to entrepreneurship as well.
Awesome. Thanks for the time. I'm Spencer.
I'm Courtney.
And we own and operate Axonal Leatherworks. It's a handmade leather goods business that we started as a hobby and evolved into. We're actually opening up our first brick and mortar store, hopefully in the spring in Waynesville. Our entrepreneurship journey has been just like anybody else's, challenges at every corner you face, but what we've determined, if you surround yourself with folks like folks that are sitting here now, friends and family, they are most certainly going to be your best assets. Coming from a background where both worked in emergency services, we're always used to having a support system around us, and kind of jumping into an entrepreneur, you don't know that exists just yet. So finding these resources through the Small Business Center with the community college, and now supportedly, it's been remarkable. It's been very helpful for us.
Thank you both very much. That is great perspective, and for sure, it's really inspiring to see entrepreneurs come together and help each other, as well as our ESOs or entrepreneur support organizations like Katy over at the Small Business Center. So I will go ahead and kick it over to you, Katy. If you would love to tell us about yourself, what you do at the Small Business Center at Haywood Community College, and your work with entrepreneurs.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Katy Gould. I'm the director of the Haywood Community College Small Business Center. But I want you to think of me as a team of 48. So I am not solely myself the Small Business Center. I'm one center of 48 across the state of North Carolina that work collaboratively through the NC Community College system to assist small business owners, both current and prospective, in turning their dreams and their ideas into realities to sustainable, growing businesses. So think of us as a team of 48, not just a single standalone center. I was introduced to entrepreneurship at an early age. I grew up in a small business, so I knew firsthand what a good day was and what a bad day was. But the skills and the mindset I developed along the way, I wouldn't change that for anything in the entire world. So it does shape my outlook moving forward. I also spent some time in college doing something called entrepreneurship for the public good. So looking at civic entrepreneurship. So both aspects of not only the commerce side and the economic development, but what entrepreneurship can do on the community development side as well. So combining those skill sets along with my background in management and marketing and putting that to work in Haywood County for the betterment of our small businesses. So our small businesses, you guys are the drivers of our community. You are what makes our community so unique, why people want to live, work, and play here. And I am in awe of you, especially over the work that you all have done over the last 18 months. I cannot imagine what you have overcome and the challenges you have faced, but you all have done it with grace and you all have done it with flexibility and resiliency. So thank you to you all. And for those looking to start, know that we are here for you. So we offer one-on-one confidential counseling at no charge to you. So we are your coach, your motivator to help you navigate that small business journey. We also offer webinars and workshops to get that training, that virtual education component in. And then we offer resource referrals. So if we are not the best fit to provide the area of expertise you need, we will connect you to that. But that's one thing I've heard from our entrepreneurs. I've heard it from Dr. White. I've heard it from Stephanie. It's connection. It's getting in the pipeline. It's getting connected with the resources. And that's really where the Startup Haywood community becomes the center spoke to that wheel. So really starting to get you in the pipeline and get you to the wealth of resources available to you in the state of North Carolina.
Thank you so much, Katie, for that. That is so true. So for our guests today, our attendees today, thank you so much for joining our discussion. I'd like to go ahead and let's get us started. And to this listening audience, we like these discussions to be as informal as possible. We want to take this opportunity to connect with each other on a real level as members of the startup community. So with that, I encourage you all to please toss those questions in that you have into the mix. Anything that you're curious about, what our panelists are doing, what they're working on, or challenges that they've faced, how they've overcome, please go ahead and add those to the chat. We have Carrie moderating the chat, so she'll go ahead and make sure that that we get those questions thrown out to our panel so that they can discuss those as well. So please feel free. We strongly encourage questions, whether it's about the program, whether it's about the work that they're doing as well. So with that, I am going to, let's start with our panelists. Let's start with Courtney and Spencer. Were there any obstacles that you faced to owning a business in Haywood? And what would you say is the difference between running a business in Haywood or maybe your impressions that you have of like bigger regions like RTP or Charlotte?
Sure. So I think that we've never had a negative experience operating our business in Haywood County. I'll start with that. But we do have a benefit of getting able to see businesses in larger municipalities, larger cities, due to we travel with our business for trade shows. So we have had our eyes opened, going to different states or different cities for these large events that have kind of, it's been almost a step back for us because we are then faced with those obstacles that folks on those other journeys in different states and cities face. Whereas for us, we never really encountered, I'm trying to think of like a specific example, maybe something in regards to insurance or whatever it is, finding a resource locally we've never struggled with. But fellow business owners in other cities, we have heard where, oh, we can't find that, or this doesn't exist where we are, or cost of operating a business is a lot higher. In Haywood County, it's the polar opposite. It's what can we do to help you? And that's been, it's been an extraordinary feeling for us, for sure.
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. And what is, just building on that a little bit as well, how would you recommend entrepreneurs reach out and connect to that help that's available? Where should they start?
Just doing it. You got to just take the first step. We're really big on positive forward mindset, regardless of what we're doing or what challenge we face. And I think that's kind of a foundation for any entrepreneur. Just take the step. Don't be afraid to ask questions that you might not think are the best questions. Just take the step, express the interest. And if somebody on the other end of the phone is like Katy or like Courtney and I, or whoever else is a part of with the Supportedly group, they're going to be willing to help. So I think taking that first step and saying, hey, I need some help here, is the biggest and sometimes the most challenging for some folks.
Absolutely. And Katy, would you agree that there really isn't a question likely that's going to be asked that you haven't heard already? So don't be afraid to ask it.
Definitely don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to ask for help, because we really are your support system. We're here to be a part of that team to help you and help you navigate. But yes, there's always a question that comes up that I've never heard before, because the market is continually changing, as are regulations and everything we're facing as small business owners. But if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you, and then we'll try to find the resource provider that has the answer or the resource that you're looking for. But as I said before, I'm one of 48. So I don't hesitate to pitch a question back to the network and see if another resource provider, another small business center director has answered it before.
Wonderful. And Mike, over to you. I'd love to hear your impressions about starting and growing your businesses in Haywood County as well.
Yeah, I have a little bit different take. I'm not from Haywood County. I'm not even from Western North Carolina. Just happened to be a great landing point for me. You know, I've been an entrepreneur in several different states, but I think the most difficult part in moving anywhere is I was moving up from South Florida, and you don't know anybody, right? So I didn't know a Katy to call or anything like that. And honestly, the stores that I run, I know nothing about. So if anybody tells you have to know everything to be an entrepreneur, I don't know anything. One of my best stores is a gift store, and it's crazy how I don't know, but I mean, we pull it together, right? So it's always fun meeting with other entrepreneurs too that are just as crazy, because you just kind of jump. You just know, say, hey, look, something I'm doing right now is not right, and I got to meet the people as I go. But Haywood County's been a great area here to invest in with the people and with the community. I can say that now that I'm up here, it's just being able to connect the dots and asking people around, like, who do you know? what can we do? But as far as jumping in as an entrepreneur, if you got to start somewhere, I would say, hey, figure out what your main goal is, what your why is. The process, the store, the business, that's always going to change. And the landscape's always going to change, and you got to be flexible with it. So, I reference out people to Katy, the Small Business Center, and try to connect the dots as much as possible. Just because you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. And it's always good to have a phone full of people to call and say, hey, I don't know. And then you kind of start that train all the way around. And that's what's really helped out in Haywood County for me.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And just, Katy, I would love to hear from you about at what point or points in an entrepreneur's journey should they connect with you?
I think you see, when most people think about entrepreneurship, they think about the start. right? We all think about, all right, I've got an idea and I want to turn it into a business. So we all think about the beginning. So I got to write the business plan. I've got to come up with my market analysis. Is the market ready for me? What is the industry saying? And so you work through those components, and that's the natural tendency to reach out for help, to build the plan, build those financials. I think the next key points are where we kind of forget that we might need some help. And that's at a capacity point. Maybe you've started the business, it's been successful, and you realize you need to hire some people, or you need to expand your product line or diversify a sales channel. That's a great opportunity to reach out for assistance. Maybe it's time for additional capital. You're ready to expand into an area and you need funding. So more funding. What does that look like? Or maybe it's just not a good day and you're noticing that the market is changing and you're not quite sure what's next, and you're just not sure what to do at that moment, or something has popped up that you may have forgotten about during those foundational startup steps. It's still a good time to reach out. There is no wrong time to ask for assistance. The Small Business Center Network is your tax dollars at work. It is our sole goal to help you, the small business owner, at whatever stage you are on that journey. And it's also beautifully connected to the community college system. So if you are in need of additional training or education beyond what we offer at the Small Business Center, it's a great opportunity to start to navigate the pathway into continuing education opportunities, curriculum opportunities, whatever that larger entrepreneurial ecosystem looks like, and those training opportunities and resources. That's what we're here for. So there's really no wrong point to reach out, but really traditionally it's the start. It's at a capacity or a funding point, and then it may be a point of either sustainability or long-term exit strategy, or when we traditionally see people, but there's no wrong opportunity or time point.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And I would like to talk a little bit more about your businesses over the past, Katy had referenced the last 18 months and just the last several months. And of course, the elephant in the room that's always in the room lately is COVID and the pandemic. And, a lot of good news around that. But of course, we've had a year now of pivots and lots of changes to businesses. Did y'all have any pivots or major pivots that you needed to do or reach out? And this is for Courtney, Spencer, and Mike. And then was there anything that that you stepped over to the Small Business Center to help out with from that end as well?
So for, I think, a little bit of our background, it's important to know about it, just to give a foundation to this story. But Courtney and I started our business as a hobby in 2014, solely working on it on our days off from our career jobs. After 5 years, 2019 December, I left my profession, left my cush benefits, my retirement, my pension, everything. December of 2019 to start pursuing the business under full-time management via both of us. Courtney was the sole full-time manager from 2016 to 19. So I left the fire department in December, and then we're all eager for 2020, and COVID was announced. So for us, I think one of the most important things that we have always, I think what has allowed us to thrive in times where others aren't, is don't look where everybody else is looking. Look in the opposite direction, or just focus on what you're doing. I think a lot of times, and we witnessed it because there's people and businesses within our line of work that when COVID began, they focused on disparity, the negatives, and what's going to happen, instead of just focusing on continue to develop their business. So for us, always maintaining of we control and focus on what we can control, right? Instead of something like coronavirus, where we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And if we put all of our energy towards trying to figure that out, we would still be back where we were in circles. So I think that was our biggest thing that we learned. Obviously, we did some pivoting with marketing and online sales because essentially, I mean, just left benefits, just left a job that I got a paycheck every 2 weeks, and we're faced with that. So I think
and then on top of all of that, not only did all of that happen, they canceled all of our trade shows.
Yeah, for the year.
We traveled March every month, at least March through November.
Yep.
And then we would get hit with Christmas. So every month we had something to go, and every single one of them that was canceled. So it was like, all right, let's do this. And let's jump in. We're going to get wet, and it's going to be mucky, and it's going to be gross. And
it was.
There's going to be tears, but.
Yep. And that was, you made mention about when to call, when to see. And for us, that was about the time that we picked up the phone and called Katy and said, hey, we've got this really crazy idea, but we want to buy a commercial building right now. So nobody else was really thinking about doing that during that period of time. And the Small Business Center guided us, showed us who to talk to, who not to talk to, what resources are valuable, what might not help. And it was very, very beneficial.
And it was also like, Katy is an awesome cheerleader. So it was like,
she kept us motivated.
Even like over Zoom, I felt like she was like patting us on the back, like, you can do it, keep going.
We set some pretty eager goals. And I think, I'm sure Katy can agree, but we've been able to execute them. And really, I think just that support system being there was, it was huge. It was huge.
That is awesome. Spencer and Courtney, I could use your podcast for motivation and inspiration for sure. So I'm going to need you to start that on top of everything else you're doing. That's super motivating. And really, really great advice too. Just focus on what you can control and moving your business in the direction you want to move. That's awesome. Mike, do you have anything to add to that as well?
Yeah. With our businesses, 90% of our business is tourist business. So when COVID hit, we were dramatically hit in all of our businesses downtown. I think it's an issue that happens in everybody's business. You got to pivot whether you're doing well or bad times come. You can't plan for an 80% reduction in funds. I don't care what entrepreneur, you never plan for that. So, and to tell somebody, hey, you should plan for 80% of your reduction in sales, it's absolutely ludicrous. So, I think the biggest thing for an entrepreneur is when hard times hit, we tend to forget about some of the outside things, and we work in our business, not on our business, and a huge thing to Spencer and Courtney sounds like they did that. They said, hey, let's keep moving forward. Let's work on our business, not in our business. And that's something that you really need to get beat into you as an entrepreneur, because it's so easy to go, oh my God, I got to get there. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this, instead of saying, hey, what's my ROI on everything that I do right now? Because I'm only getting 20% of my revenue coming back in here. What do I need to do? That's one of those points where a small business center comes into play, as well as having a local mentor. I talk about this all the time. My biggest regret in entrepreneurship is pretending I know what I'm doing in business, because I was in corporate America for forever. And I'm not from Haywood County. So it would have been nice if I would have come here and found someone that is maybe not even in my area, but a mentor. And, and Katy can send those people out, and the business people can send those out. But not even so much a cheerleader, but someone to evaluate your daily activity, to say, yeah, is that what you should be doing to be the most successful? And with COVID, I wish I would have had that, especially in the very beginning. I think I would have been a lot more successful if I would have done that. And I think programs like the Startup Haywood, as well as the Business Center, are going to be able to give people the tools necessary to do this. Because when I came here, everyone told me about the business center, but you still have so much to figure out, and like Katie says, a lot of people come in for that initial funding, or I call it hospital moments. Like, hey, I got to have this done today. What can I do? We all know as entrepreneurs, nothing happens in one day. So, I think having these valuable resources and giving us these valuable resources as entrepreneurs that we can pass out when we hear of new entrepreneurs or people come to us, that's huge. And I reach out to my business center. Katie, I tell you, I shoot her emails all the time with the stupidest ideas, and she'll come back going, "No, Mike, I don't think that's going to be good." Or, "Mike, yeah, let's go with that." So advice I would give there is, it's not so much like, how do I do capital? It's like, hey, I got this crazy idea. Will it work around here? And that's really the meat and potatoes for me, for my business center, because it's just an ongoing conversation, and it's a touch point to keep me in reality where I am here, and to help keep me walk through COVID, because it does tell me about the other businesses in the area, what they're doing. It's not that we're holding any secrets. It's just we don't have any time to reach out to everybody right now, and it's not like we can meet and have a tall glass of water together in the afternoon and discuss business,
Absolutely. That's also another great point as far as mentorship, leaning on the support that's around you, and really just understanding that, there are times when it's a really great idea to kind of pop our heads out of the weeds that we're in and see what others are doing, and understand that we're all kind of going through it too. So, and I think both for Mike, you, and Courtney and Spencer, that's awesome advice for right now, and moving forward. I think that's really just great general advice for entrepreneurs. And you talk about the tools the resources that are available. And just switching gears a little bit, one of the resources that's available on the Startup Haywood site is the Ask a Question. So this is something that we are testing out to see how entrepreneurs might utilize this resource. So it's pretty loose at this point. It's a form online that allows entrepreneurs to just type in a question and submit that question. We are compiling those questions. We're turning around and answering them as quickly as possible. Just as an example, recently we had a question come in about what's the best POS to utilize. And we frankly didn't know the answer to that. So we sent out a quick survey to entrepreneurs in the region. And Carrie, I'm going to put you 100% on the spot here and ask you if you remember just generally what the results of that quick survey was of entrepreneurs who are using POSs.
Yeah, we got a great response. Definitely the top one was Square, which we see all over the place. But there were some other ones in there. People have used PayPal, which we didn't even know had this great setup with a ton of different POS services. And then Stripe was the third one that they recommended. So it's on our blog right now if you want to go ahead and read it.
Wonderful. Thanks, Carrie. So we do turn those questions, the responses to the questions, into content that we push out to entrepreneurs just as quickly as we can turn them around. And we're also using those to understand what more additional course modules that we need to build out. So we have the entrepreneur mindset module for those entrepreneurs who are just starting out on their journey and really want to understand what the mindset is that they need to have and kind of prepare themselves for that, and also prepare their friends and family and understand the conversations that they'll need to have there. We've customer discovery. So really what are those initial steps to take outside of talking to friends and family about your idea? How do you talk about it? What questions do you ask? How do you identify who you think your customers are to start? We have the one-page business plan, and that is hugely helpful for those individuals that maybe are gearing up to see Katie, to understand, like, how do I just talk about my business and get that onto a page so I can sit down with Katie and talk about my business idea and have her help me take it from there. So those types of course modules we're working on building. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit to some of the questions that we're receiving online, we're receiving a lot of questions around marketing. So that could be a future course module that we build out, and you'll certainly be seeing some blog posts coming out along those lines as well. But I wanted to take this opportunity to kind of push some of those questions out to our panelists today as well, and get your take, because I think there's just no better advice than the advice that comes from our entrepreneurs and our support, like Katy, so our support individuals. So the first one that I have, and I'm just going to kind of toss this one out and anyone take it that this one speaks to. So for your business, what is the most effective form of marketing that you've seen? And I understand this could change over time, but let's just talk maybe currently, the most effective form of marketing that you've seen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak for our business right now. Instagram and Facebook are hands down our best right now. Mostly because they allow us to sell on their platforms. So now it's not, I just go see a picture, I got to go to the website and search. I literally could just click and buy right now. That's been super effective for us. And then being able to, we found a lot of people are, they're really trying to shop local. They're trying to shop, I would almost say American made, for a lot of either local products or close to local products, and they can search by hashtags. So being able to do that has been a very successful venture for us in regards to that. And then the second thing I'd do on that is blog post. Blogging is coming back, I guess. I don't know if it really went anywhere, but now that we're sitting at home and we really have nothing to do, we've watched all of Yellowstone and everything else. Now it's time that we, I guess, read blogs on people's websites. So I found that our website traffic, if you're tracking your analytics, is that the blogging is really going up. And that's horrible for someone like me, because I can't spell at all. I graduated from Western Carolina, which is the Harvard of the South, but I didn't get a chance to really focus on English. So, but yeah, I would say that those are really the best tools that we found.
And from your perspective, Mike, how are you picking your content for those blogs?
Flipping a quarter. Really, I've used marketing firms in the past that tell you this or that, and it's really just listening to my customers. Anytime a customer comes in now, since we have such limited capacity in our stores, I would guess the best part of COVID, if you could say that, is you really get to talk to people more. And they really want to talk to you. They don't really come in and not discuss something with you anymore. So I'm just going, hey, well, what brought you in? They were like, oh my God, I saw this stupid card that you posted, or that was such a funny meme. So, it's kind of a grab bag. I don't think that there's a science behind it. Or if there is, I haven't found that algorithm yet. But yeah, it's really just talking to your people, going, I love those videos, or I love this, or I love that, and then trying to align that with the customers that are walking in the door.
Well, it sounds a lot like you've nailed a little bit of the science behind it, Mike, with listening to your customers and understanding what they're reacting to and responding to, for sure. So thank you for that. And Spencer and Courtney, do you have anything that came to mind or you wanted to add as well?
Sure. So marketing for us, we've been e-commerce only for 6 years. May 5th is 6 years in business for us. So it's living and it's evolving daily, sometimes hourly. And for us, the marketing piece is really what has driven our business. We try our best, and I think it's important to, like Mike made mention, your customer base. I might look at Mike's marketing and say, and try it, and it doesn't work for us. I might look at somebody else's marketing and that they're really successful with and try it, and it doesn't work for us. So I think being willing to try and fail multiple times, right? Because entrepreneurship is It's a lot of failing. And then bouncing back from those failures with, changes to however the tactics are. But the one thing that I will say, social media can be daunting. I personally don't really enjoy social media from a personal standpoint. We use it for our business. We get enough of it through our business. And with that, I think a lot of times people get hung up on how many likes I have, or how many followers I have, or how many. Don't do that. It's really not worth the frustration that it can bring to you. And it's not a part of your business that should tear you down. That side of things should build you up. So our tactic on our marketing via social media is essentially we're visual storytelling, and that's what we do. Our story is very authentic, and people want to connect with who they're buying goods from, especially if you're a handmade or you're creating items. Once your customer or potential customer makes a connection with the people that are creating or running the brand or business, you got it. That's it. You've got it. And being able to keep that going is another part. This is something funny. I never thought in my life, I never knew what a TikTok was until about a month ago. And when I started hearing about TikTok, I said, I'll never get on TikTok. That's just not for us. So after probably a year of saying we're never going to get on TikTok, we gave TikTok a shot. And the feedback was remarkable. So that's one of those things where you learn from your mistakes. We missed, a year of content creation to a potential new customer base, and we'll never make that time back up, right? And obviously looking back's not the thing to do, but you got to realize what you've missed out on. So I think that just keeping an open mind when it comes to marketing and social media. And I think something you had mentioned that they're going to blog about it. Right now we're facing a challenge in our business where we're getting a lot of marketing companies that are contacting us to market what we do. And it's daunting and it's exhausting because none of them are really vetted for us, right? So we don't know who to trust. We're getting 10 emails a week from marketing firms all across the country. And for us to try and figure out who's a good fit or what's going to work for us, it's very, very challenging. So at times people might think, well, marketing is just an early on type thing. We're facing an obstacle now at a little bit of a larger scale that we're like, well, do we want to do this? And if we do, who do we go with? And how do we know it's reliable? So I think that if the blog wants to detail some of that, that'd be a question for us too, because we're learning as well.
We are capturing that information for sure, Spencer, because I was thinking as you were stating that or stating that out, that is a fantastic blog post. So we will be jumping on that for sure. Thank you very much for that. And I'm dying to know, for those of us who have not entered the world of TikTok yet, it is on my phone. I've not entered. I understand it's quite the attention seeker, but I would love to know how y'all are using TikTok. Are you finding it's different from Instagram, or how are you using it to tell that story to your customers?
Sure. So we've been testing TikTok now. I think we created our account early January just to get it out there, because it's unfortunate, but domain names and account names sometimes other people will take, so you can't have your own branded page. So we face that at times as well. But when we created it, essentially for the last 30 days, we've done tests where we've been doing content creation now for a while. So we have a clue what works where as far as social media goes. Where TikTok, that platform's very different, right? It's very different. It's a much younger demographic, and they're looking for different things. And that was really kind of, I guess, our deterrent initially, because I'm not dancing with a leather radio strap or a belt, for to sell one. That's just not what we're going to do. So we do via Instagram, we share our processes of how we craft the goods that we make. And essentially we've taken that foundation to TikTok. And right now, what we're doing is we're recycling content. So we're pulling content that I felt worked really well on Instagram, and then we're testing it on TikTok. So what we've discovered so far with TikTok is people are very interested in seeing people performing skills, not necessarily just skills being performed without the actual person in it. And we've all heard that with marketing photography, it's always great to have people in the pictures. And I would say with TikTok on these videos, it's very true, where people want to see people. So we're just doing it in a means of using the sewing machine, and I'm included, or Travis is included, or Courtney's included painting. And it seems that those TikToks or posts, I don't even know what you call them, are the ones that perform best for us currently.
That's really great advice and insight as well. And definitely, as far as recycling and utilizing content that's worked in the past, that is such a time saver for sure. So I appreciate the insights on that, and how you're using TikTok. And we'll find out. Maybe we'll do a blog post on what it's called when you post to TikTok. Do you tick? Are you talking? I don't know. So my team is laughing so hard at me right now. And
it's all right.
I deserve it.
We're laughing as well. I just muted it. We didn't want.
I deserve
but you're right.
it.
I guess I don't know if it's a post or just a TikTok. I don't know. We'll figure it.
We'll do a glossary of terms blog on that. So I am really interested. I love the Haywood County area. I have a very close friend out in Jonathan Creek, and I just think it's just a beautiful area. I love coming to Waynesville, back when I went places, and I'm excited to be doing that again soon. I would love to know the area, and one of the things that I love the most about Western North Carolina is the community spirit. And it really feels, when you go to communities, they really do feel like true communities. That often comes with things like word of mouth marketing. Do y'all find that you utilize word of mouth marketing, or do you have ways of understanding whether or not that's happening? And Katy, if you want to dive in as well with your thoughts on this, if you've heard from other entrepreneurs, but I'd love to get a sense of, do you have a sense of word of mouth marketing for your region?
I mean, as far as word of mouth, I mean, I think that, I'm fortunate enough to be right downtown. So I would say most of our traffic is walk-in traffic, of people that are coming through Waynesville. We do have a lot of people that will say, "Oh my God, I heard about your store," or "I saw it online." But most of the word of mouth traffic that I hear somebody say, it's because we referenced other businesses. It's really one of those who in the community. And it's because they come in my store and they go, "Oh my God, I need this." And I go, "Oh, you got to run down to Joe's store down the road over there." That's why I think it's so important for all the entrepreneurs and business owners to really get together, and not be scared of each other. It's not about competition. It's about growing the area and growing each person's business. But as far as word of mouth marketing there, I think that's really where we see any type of business, is just letting other business owners know what we have, and that we will take care of their customers as well as they will take care of their customers.
That's a really great point. I think we think of, often, and even in the context of my question, I'm thinking of word of mouth being customer to customer word of mouth. But business to business word of mouth, when we're talking about that sense of community, is vitally important as well. Katie, do you have any thoughts on this as well, that you know, Mike's comments or other has kind of brought forward for you?
I think it's another way to highlight the robust, vibrant small business climate we have in Haywood County. So really, when I think of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, it's taking place right here, whether it's the support team, the resource providers, the small business owners, the community. I mean, that's one thing that became very clear during COVID, is that our local community rallies behind our small business owners. They really take value in that buy local concept, whether they are a restaurateur, whether they are a maker or a retailer, whoever you may be, a service-based business. We really rally behind these small business owners that make our community so unique. But when I think of market strategy development, it's one component of the overall market plan. So whether it's digital marketing, whether it's in-person network-based marketing, really building that referral chain, or something along the lines of print-based marketing, you also have to look at the market segment and the changing industry. And that's really where that customer discovery process can come back into play. It doesn't have to just be at the beginning of the journey when you're trying to validate that concept. That customer discovery process, and where Mike was talking about actually asking his customers and listening to his customers, and Courtney and Spencer are testing these ideas on TikTok, but trying to validate them. That customer discovery process is coming back in a different iteration over and over again. So yes, Haywood County is home to a vibrant small business climate. That is one of our primary sources of, I guess the way people find us is through referral chains, whether it is a banker, an attorney, an insurance agent, a fellow small business owner, or a colleague. That's how people find us. And that's such a huge thank you to us, as we were able to provide you with the services you needed in a way that meant something to you. So you recommended someone to us because we are a valid resource. So thank you for that. But I think the noting that the customer discovery process is back and it never leaves, and you're continually validating in the marketplace is what's so essential right now. And I hear it in our entrepreneurs that we have on the panel right now.
That is a phenomenal point, Katie. I really appreciate you bringing that up and really talking through how customer discovery continues throughout the life of your business, and revisiting it is vitally important. You're absolutely right. Continuing to revisit that. And with that, I would like to just open the floor to any final thoughts for anyone that anyone might have prior to closing out. We're starting to bump up on our time here. So any additional thoughts before we wrap up today?
For the truly new entrepreneurs that are watching this video and just don't know where to start, have no idea, just start. Send an email, make a phone call, read a book, listen to an audiobook. There's so many vast resources out there. It's incredible. When you talked about word of mouth, we got connected with Katie through, I would say, a pretty unique word of mouth scenario. We were looking to purchase a building, and the owner of the building referred us to Katie. So it was pretty unique for us. And that was, I think, summertime of last year. And it's the resource there has just been phenomenal. I mean, we've been running our business now for almost 6 years, and we've never really introduced ourselves to the local community. And when we told Katie that, it was kind of like, oh, because we were online only with social media. So in the last 6 months, we have been able to feel the word of mouth aspect that you're referring to, because prior to that, nobody knew who we were. We live out, there's more cows than people where we live. And it was one of those that when we made that step and that introduction with Katie, and then the resources just kind of fell into place from there, that word of mouth community support was phenomenal. It really was. But yeah, that's what I would say for new entrepreneurs. Just take a step. If I can reference in a book, the first book that I always refer entrepreneurs to is by Simon Sinek, Start With Why. I think it's one of the best books that really not even a business owner, if you were trying to find yourself, I highly recommend that book.
That's a great recommendation, Spencer. That's a very, very good book for sure. Mike, do you have any, if you were giving an entrepreneur one piece of advice, an entrepreneur that was just starting out, do you have a piece of advice that you would give as well?
Yeah, I mean, the best I would do is find a mentor, and the biggest question I get is, well, where do I find them? And you can reach out to Katy. You just look into your elders of the local community, and they don't have to be in your line of work. That's the big takeaway here is a lot of people try to find someone that's doing what they've done. And really, you're not looking for someone to give you the secrets to be successful. You're asking someone to hold you accountable to issues you don't want to talk about and problems in your business that you want to overlook, no matter how small they are. So find a mentor. The Small Business Center can do that. There's great coaching there. It's free. There's a lot of free business coaches, and they will do that. And it's amazing to reach out. So, even if you're thinking about starting a business, and you don't know anything about it, get with Katy, get with some of the business coaches there, and they can walk you through it. They can ask you the tough questions. And, that's really the things you don't want to talk about. But at the end of the day, they're the ones, those little pieces are going to be the ones that make or break you. So that would be my little piece of advice there.
Thank you so much for that, Mike. And absolutely, yeah, that is always my first recommendation to any entrepreneur starting out is reach out to your small business center. They will definitely, those things you may not want to talk about or may not want to acknowledge, or just talking through your business, it's great advice in a no judgment zone for sure. So it is a great safe space to come and talk through your business, and talk through issues that you're having, or just your hopes and dreams with the directions that you want to take your business as well. So with that, I will go ahead and wrap up because now we are officially bumping up on our time. So I want to first and foremost thank our roundtable participants, Mike, Courtney, Spencer, and Katy. I really appreciate you guys sharing your thoughts today, sharing them with our entrepreneurs. And a very, very special thank you to Dr. White for your support of Haywood County. So to our participants, our attendees today, please feel free to check out Startup Haywood at startuphaywood.com. Connect with Katy, check out the free learning modules that are available there, and feel free to drop us a question. So with that, thank you all so much for attending today. And thank you very much again to our panelists. We really appreciate all of your thoughts today. Really appreciate it. Thank you.